Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting live show. Going to be going into this 10-game slate. Going to be sharing my screen, showing you guys what I'm looking at. So we got a couple people in the chat already. Got a couple things to look at. Appreciate you. I'm going to say it wrong. Jasa Soho. Either way, Jasa. Cade Cunningham, PRA. We got Beal threes, 80 points. My man's got a lot of looks here. And we got a Jakob Poeltl. I love Poeltl, honestly. I don't know why, but love the big Polish man. Poeltl at over 10.5 from Mike. Good to see you, Mike. For those of y'all that don't know, Mike has his own channel in the free Discord as well if you're interested. Really good looks. Crazy what's going on in Mike's head, but appreciate you being in here, man. Let me go ahead and just give a couple looks while people trickle in here. I put a video out this morning with some of the looks that I had. Didn't play all of those, but had some leans in there that I was looking at. So some of the stuff that we are looking at, and I'm going to bring up the bottom line here in just a minute, but some of the things I'm looking at that I will give out. I'm still waiting on Miles McBride. If anybody sees a Miles McBride line, go ahead and send that my way because I'm pretty big on Miles tonight. I think the points are going to be a good look for him. Josh Hart is looking like he's going to play. If he does, I like his rebounds. But Miles has been on one, and this team signed him before he got too expensive because they knew he was going to be this good. He's going to continue to be the top scorer coming off the bench for this squad. So I'm going to continue to back him. If he has anything around 10.5 or less for his points, that's a look for Deuce McBride there. Let's see. Yeah, this is the look from Mike for Jakob Poeltl is whichever center is playing against Nikola Jokic. A lot of times, most of the time, the game plan is go at him as much as you can. So I like the look for Poeltl on his points. I really like this look for Pritchard as well over. I think I'm going to be playing that as well. And you got Lively in here. So let me start putting some of these up real quick while people trickle in. I'm going to update the bottom line as well. I'll put my leans up on the bottom line. So anything that we go over here is going to be up on the bottom line. Also going to be up on the pinned comment on the video on YouTube. So, but go ahead and bring your bets and jump in the comments, all that good stuff. Let me go ahead and add a couple of these before I start sharing my screen. Some of the stuff that's coming in the comments that you guys got already. I do want to look at Poeltl with what Mike was talking about too. So I'm going to look at that. Where's my up next tab? There we go. Up next, we got. We'll get to Poeltl. I like it either way, to be honest, but I do want to look at it. Let me add 80 points. Beal threes. Cade Cunningham, PRA. 80 points. Beal threes. Cade Cunningham, PRA. Beal threes. And we had, I'm going to get it. Cade, PRA. Always a look. Cade's on one this season. I think he's about to take another step up for sure. So I like where he's at with that. What's good? 36 Chambers. Good to have you in here, bro. I don't think Hart is confirmed out. I think he's just questionable. So what I was saying is if there's no Josh Hart, that equals more Deuce McBride. I probably should put an if in there because if he's in, I actually like Jay Hart on the rebounds right here. I like the fact that, he's still at the 20 rebound chance mark last game against the Pacers. This Cavs team, probably a little bit better of a rebounding team, but Josh Hart is the perfect prototype type of player to go ahead and get boards against the big Cavs front line because he's going to come in while those bigs are boxing each other out, and he should be able to get some boards. Had some good numbers against the Cavs last year as well. So I like that one. All right, I got some up next stuff to look at already, so that's good. Going to let a few more folks jump in here as well. Let me put Poeltl up, though, before I forget, because I will. And we'll just start there, and then we'll go right into the next big man. That is AD, who is looking like he's trying to be MVP this year for sure. MVD, Most Valuable Davis. Anyway, let me go ahead and share this. Like I said, get this up. I will tell you as well, if you did not see the best bet of the day, 33 and 13 in the best bets of the day on YouTube and other places, wherever you get it. But if you want to tail that one, I'm fading Chris Paul on the PRA. I'm not positive if the PRA have been bet down at all already, but let me look real quick. And as I share my screen, I'll get this stuff up. All right. I'm gonna share this. Gonna get this up. Going to be using propsmadness.com. Going to be using props.cash, all the usual hitters. So if you have anything, if you have any questions about that, the links are all in the descriptions of the video. So you can use that stuff if you want exactly what I'm using. So this is Props Madness, as you can see. Let me see if I make this a bit bigger. I don't know why this is messing with me now. Okay, there we go. That's a little better. All right. Saving that like that. All right. Let's start with Poeltl and see what Mike was seeing. And I already know, like he said, what is the main like crux of the bet is the fact that you take the center points going up against Mr. Jokic. So let me see real quick too. Let me raise this up so I can see better. All right, bet. All right, looking at Poeltl, let's see real quick. Let's just start right here. Let's see if Poeltl has done work against Jokic in general. Jakob Poeltl versus Jokic last 8 games. And this is just to give me a sample size. I might not even need all 8 of these. Let's see, 19 minutes last year, 4 points. Then he had the 12 and 32. So he only had 19 minutes in this one. Do you have foul trouble? Nope, only 2 fouls in that game. So whatever reason, I could go on the box score and look at it, but it looks like that was the outlier, and the norm for dude is to play a lot more minutes. So he obviously didn't have a very good offensive game right here, only took 3 shots. But in this one, still played the 32 minutes, and that's what we're looking for is does he get the volume? I was actually looking at boards for Jokic as well while we're on the topic here. I think 11 and a half rebounds against this Raptor squad is probably a look, but I'll get to that in one sec. As far as centers scoring against this squad, let's go right here and put in Poeltl. And this is a really solid part of outlier.bet is that you can just see the defense versus position stuff. I'm pretty sure they pull this through from Fantasy Pros. Last season, this is not what I want to look. I want to look at points. So this is last season, blah, blah, blah. But if I look at points, I should be able to see right here, points per game allowed. The Nuggets were 6th best last season versus centers, though. Look at that right there. 8th worst, whatever, 7th worst, whatever it is, against center points, right? And Jokic, not a bad defender necessarily. At one point, he was considered that, but it's more about this other center going at them, and you'll see a ton of attempts from the opposing center. So they're not as good in the front court. Small forward, good defense on the wing for the Nuggets, bad defense down low, as we know, because Aaron Gordon, not exactly like a center. I guess I'll give him power forward. But this is definitely a good look. What's he done so far this season for Jakob? In terms of the shot attempts, we can look at that on Outlier 2. We can see field goals. So he's taken 6, 8, and 9. We definitely want that to be up closer to 10 or 11. How many did he take? And let's see the shot attempt averages over here. So 5, 6, 13, 3, 12. We really need this number to be a little bit higher, right? Like he's not getting to the free throw line very often for a center, especially only 2 free throws a game or so in the last 5 games against Jokic rather. So I think it's a good look. I don't like this Raptors team at all. I think it might be a blowout spot as well for the Nuggets, who have to get right. And this is definitely a team you get right against, but we'll keep that in mind. I love where your head's at with that though, Mike. Let me pull up AD real quick and we can see how insane this dude has been going off so far this season. Going to update this to AD. All right. Looking at Anthony Davis. Let's go down real quick. And for those of you that are rolling into, just a reminder, everything on the bottom line is going to have what you need, including the leans that I do go with from the show. So if you want to look at that, you can check it out on the bottom line and in the pinned comment. All right, let's look at Monday night here, late night for Suns and Lakers, starting with AD. We just played this game, right? Where are you at, Anthony? Right here, 20. He's up to 26.5 now. Had 35 against this team on 17 free throws. That's crazy. 76% from, or I'm sorry, 48% from the field, but took the 18 total shots. So 17 free throws and 18 shots. I mean, he really took 20, 25, 26 shots, depending on how many free throws he got per chance. So all those free throw attempts are field goal attempts, but they just don't count against him because he got fouled. So he took an ass ton of shots. His usage is up at 32%. It's something crazy this year already. Let's just look. Anthony Davis usage rate this season. So he's at a 30% usage rate. Let's see, usage rate game log. So I can see by game real quick. I didn't put a space here. So yeah, 23% against the Kangs. And then, 32-34. So he's taking a ton of shots, getting to the free throw lines, got the ball in his hands a lot. I like AD this year right now for sure. If you look at him, let's look at him against this squad last season. I'm going back to Props Madness. I'm going to choose 23-24 and then look at head-to-head. So 5 games. One of those was the in-season tournament, I believe. Mostly good. Let's make sure that Jokic was in all those games. Let's just do AD versus Nurkic. I keep saying Jokic. Yusuf Nurkic last 5 games. So against Nurk, 23 points, 10.5 boards. So the points are high for sure. 26.5, you're starting to creep in on super high for AD. What did he average last season? So he only went over this, obviously, 2 of 5. On the season, he was right at 24.8. So we got to be a little bit chill. Like, these are amazing numbers. I mean, he took 15 shots right here. He's getting to the free throw line a ton. So we like that. I mean, it's possible JJ Redick is making a difference. This is not a big enough sample size for me to go, dude's going to average 30 points a game this season. So I want to heed a little bit of caution there. Nurk is not terrible. Let's look real quick at, I mean, he's not great, but let me look real quick for AD at how centers performed. And I'll show you the site that we normally use when I'm doing the live show with everybody. This is fantasypros.com. So you can see team defense versus position. So you can make sure that if you want to look at it that way, I'll also show you Courtside Pal in a minute. But centers last season, I got to go back to 23. Scoring versus the Phoenix Suns. Where are you at, Phoenix? So not bad, actually, right? This is going to be right about 15th, somewhere in the middle of the pack for the Suns at 22.45 points per game that they gave up. So they're not the worst. Yeah, they're certainly right middle of the pack for centers. AD, pretty good games against them, but I don't think he can't really move Nurk. It's really a matter of, is he going to be able to score driving to the rim against Nurk? And it looks like he has been doing that. I want to look at one more thing real quick. And actually I can do it on Props Madness. This is the most beautifulest part about it. So AD scoring most of his points off of the free throw line. You can see, and as the pick and roll man, and then posting up a little bit. So he's definitely rolling to the rim as opposed to backing people down when you see him much fewer on the post-ups there. The opponent defense rank against that, this is all this season. So this season so far, they're not allowing that much down low. I mean, 14th and then 9th in the mid-range. So they've been about what they were last year on defense, to be honest. Not much of an edge that I'm finding at 26.5 points. This is a super high line. So if I put this into any kind of model that was using his averages from last year and even this year in the minutes and the shot attempts, it's probably a pass for me on AD points. Looking at his rebounds while we're here, 20 rebound chances, only 8 boards versus Domas and the Kings. We don't get rebound chances for game 2, but he had 26 versus the Timberwolves. So far this season, how's Nurk doing against the centers? I mean, they play Zoo once, right? They beat the Clips, but Zoo has been unbelievable this season. Looking at centers against them so far in just 3 games, so it's not much to go by. But if you look at them through 3 games, centers, they're right back in the middle of the pack. A little bit worse than middle of the pack for the rebounds and for the points as well. Although, yeah, so they're giving up a good amount of points to centers. If you wanted to look at that too, that's what we're talking about for AD. But yeah, that's not enough for me to just bet on it. There's no edge there for me with Anthony Davis, but I see where your head's at. 26.5 points. We're kind of on the tail end of this like streak of crazy, awesome 30-point games for dude. I don't think it's sustainable for the whole season. So that's why I'm like, this isn't something I'm going to expect from him moving forward. All right, let me see real quick. We got a Daniel Jones question. I like the questions you bring, Paul Wina. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but I like the questions you've been bringing the last couple of days. Daniel Jones rush attempts, 5.5 against the Steelers. The Steelers don't give up yards to the quarterback. It's kind of weird. I know I'm just bouncing into MNF real quick, Monday Night Football, but I can just show you real quick. This is something I wanted to look at. I consider Daniel Jones. I had a video breaking down the player props from this game for tonight. And for DJ, what I really was considering the rushing yards. And then what I looked at was let me go to rush yards for homie. Rush yards. And the Steelers, despite having a couple things that are interesting, rush yards for the quarterback, they are second best at limiting rushing yards. They're also second best at limiting quarterback rushing yards. I know the thought process with the Steelers is they have the best pressure. They got TJ Watt, they got Highsmith, so they're going to be all over the quarterback the whole time. But check out this defense, these defensive numbers for the Steelers in terms of their pass rush. Not that imposing. If you go down to pressure percentage right here, this is team advanced defense. They're something like bottom. Look at that. What's that? Like 8th worst in terms of pressure percentage. They're not blitzing. They're not really a blitzing team. I believe this is the bottom. Yeah. So what? Their bottom 10 blitz percentage. As far as hurry percentage, they're like not really getting to the quarterback. So the idea that they're going to get to Daniel Jones and make him leave the pocket. First of all, Daniel Jones' offensive line is non-existent. So anybody should be able to get there. But the Eagles have a much better pass rush than the Steelers do. So they were living in the backfield last year. I'm not ready to bank on that necessarily this game. It's like 25.5 yards. Maybe you like the attempts because he will be forced out, but even the yards is not something that I'm really trying to mess with tonight for the doopiest fucking quarterback. This coming from a dude who was a fan of Eli Manning, and I still think this dude's a freaking doopy fuck. Anyway, what's good, Rhyme? I'm just gonna bring this up because he brought it up, and I love when you guys give the explanation. So if you put a bet in, I will highly appreciate if you have a little mini explanation like this one. Just a sentence is good enough. Just give me a starting point for why you like the bet. Think about going under on Wemby for boards. His minutes aren't high enough, and he seems to be guarding a lot on the perimeter when he switched to and not under the basket as much. I feel that, and he's playing against Şengün. So against Şengün, that is something to keep an eye out for. Is that he's going to be playing on the perimeter a good amount on offense, does a lot of facilitating, and he probably knows he's not going to be able to back Wemby down to a place of being able to score on him. So I think that makes sense. Let's take a look at Şengün real quick. I know he had a real bad game. They actually pulled him and did better with him off the floor. He had the worst plus minus of any of the starters last game for Alpi. 17.5 points is mad low when you look at last year and 21.1 per game before he got hurt. So 17.5 is low for what you expect of this man. If we look at him last year versus, and I know I'm talking about Wemby, but I'm looking at Şengün to see specifically, is he shooting threes? So only 3 threes last game versus them. This is last year, excuse me, in the last game versus them last year. I don't even know if Wemby was in that one. I think he was. But if we look at him in 3 games versus them, he did have a good amount of points. He is, let's see, the assist too, because if he's facilitating, he's a little bit further from the basket usually. Yeah, so it makes sense. I see what you're saying there. Let me pull him up. I actually like continuing to fade him on the assists because of a couple of things. And I pulled this one out last game. It hit wonderfully. But if we look at him last year versus this squad, head-to-head, I'm on boards. Still had a lot of boards, right? 16 rebound chances, 28 rebound chances right here, 17 and then 17. So 10.5 is right at the number where it should be for him, to be honest. I don't know that I would be fading him. Let me see what's up with this season. So yeah, you only had the 7 last game. Don't get the rebound chances there, but 20 rebound chances versus the Mavs. I mean, it's a little bit scary. I do think the Rockets probably get the revenge game here and they win this one. So it is a little bit, it's a little bit dicey. I don't see much of an edge. 28 to 30 minutes makes sense, but that's actually, is that up from last year? Let me go to, get back to NBA props. Honestly, though, if y'all have NFL props, like I'm down to hash it out with you guys. Let's see. Let's look at Wemby last season. I'm trying to see what his minutes were last season because he's at 29.5 right now, right? So this is 2023 on outlier.bet. And then I can just go down to the bottom and see 29.7. So this is about the minutes he was playing last year, too. And what he averaged last year, I should just stay there, my bad. Go to rebounds. And last year he averaged 30 or something. Was 10.63. The median was 11. I just want to nerd out with you for 2 seconds. The median is more important, honestly, than the average, and it gets no love. But the median, for all you math nerds that remember like 4th grade algebra, the average is just an average of all of them. The median is what is the most central number that is most often the line that he either goes over, under 50% of the time. So 50% of the time he was over 11 and under 11. But that is the better number than the average because the average doesn't take into consideration outliers. That's what the point of the median is. It takes away the outliers and negates them. So you don't have to worry about, well, why did he have 20 rebounds in this game? Well, that was an outlier. So it's not really considered in the median. And that's one of the more beautiful parts about props, outlier.bet, as well, is it shows you the median. So this is not a beatable number for me. Nothing that he's done this year has necessarily shown me that's something I believe in. I think where I just wanted to answer, Ro. I don't always answer this because I love all my bets the same. Not really. But I do have one best bet that I put up, and every single day now, or not every day, but most days I'm putting up on, the social medias and whatnot, what my best bet is in a short form video for you guys. And today I'm really liking a fade of Chris Paul, 21.5 PRA. If you want that one's been made public anyway on Twitter and all over the place. So if you want that one, that is probably my best bet of the day. Let's see real quick. LeBron James. LeBron James is his brother who's an accountant somewhere. Where's your brother, LeBron? That's amazing. I'll look at LeBron in a minute. Youngin knows what's up. Yeah, rebounds for Chris Paul is a nice under. I don't love taking unders on short, like a low rebound prop, because sometimes it's just straight luck for real. But let's keep it going. No doubt. Yeah, I got you, Mr. PR Hero. Let me know what you put in here too. If I missed some of the stuff, feel free to put it in a couple of times, yo. Let's see. Josh Hart's still game time decision. And Pauline is saying that this is a good point. I know we're going back to NFL, but whatever. Steelers have only played very immobile QBs this season. Rodgers, Flacco, Cousins, O'Connell, Nix. Nix is kind of, Nick's a little bit mobile. Is the only mobile QB they, you said that. Is the only mobile QB they played, and he had 25 rush yards. I feel you. But 25 rush yards is right where DJ is at, right? He's at 25.5. Nix has a couple of games over 25. So your point's well taken. It's just right on the line for me. Once again, it's not like I'm looking at that bet and saying that's stupid. It's a terrible bet. I just need more to place my money down on it is where I'm at. So, all right, let's keep it going. I know I got to update the banner here. So we got Beal threes and then Cade PRA. And I had a couple other things I need to look at because y'all we're talking about. So you want LBJ under 37.5 PRA. I'm usually going to be much more in favor of fading a superstar than betting on them because those lines are bloated. They know that we all want to bet over Luka points. So you got to pick your spots. You can't be doing that consistently. Let's see. LeBron. I know I missed a couple. Kuzma. That was the one I was trying to see. Jay Atkins has Kuzma 22.5, Bam 12.5 RA rebounds and assists, and Paolo over 6.5 rebs from Jay. You're parlaying that, my G. That's pretty nice. I bet that should be paying you 4-1 based on what those lines look like. From what I remember, what the core lines are. Always shop those parlays, and also I'm just going to throw this in the chat right now. This is something that I would make sure that you are using, which is a parlay calculator. What's his name? Matthew Berry on fantasylife.com has a really good, as long as it's doing the right thing, but he has a great fantasy. What I'm trying to say is a great parlay calculator. So if you will go to Fantasy Life, this is the link right here. I got it up. Hit the parlay calculator, put the odds in of the normal of the bets that you're making, and that way you can make sure you're not getting dicked on what the price should be according to math. And this is what it looks like. It's super easy. You can add as many legs as you want, but I'll just say, like, I'm putting in $100 on this parlay. The first leg is 100 is even money. The second leg is, minus 150, whatever, right? And then you can just make sure, according to math, that this is the proper payout. And you're going to rarely see this number be what you can find. The parlays are they're going to totally dick you on the juice no matter what. But it's at least making sure that you know how bad you're getting dicked if you're going to get dicked. I like the Wemby under assist while I'm here, by the way. It's at 3.5 now. 4.5 was just incorrect, and that's what it was last game. Last season, I believe he averaged right around 4. Yeah, 3.9. But even at 3.5, I prefer an under here. If you look at this season, 5 potential assists in that one first game. And in this second one, we didn't get the number, but when I was watching the game, not very many potential assists in this one either for Wemby. With Chris Paul in town, with a true point guard, with a dude that they're going to want the ball in his hands, Wemby's not going to be facilitating. And Houston doesn't double, and they don't allow assists to anybody. Centers, point guards, anything. So we know that they're going to play off of they're not going to double Wemby necessarily. They've left him one-on-one and been able to handle him pretty well. So I think that's going to continue to be the case. I like the under on the assists for dude. 4.5 was an easy play. 3.5, make sure you're getting like -1, nothing worse than -120. I'll say that. You can get -105 on Bet365 for under 3.5 assists. I'm put that in the leans right now. I should have been updating that for y'all too. My bad. Let me update the bottom line with these leans. I got Wemby under 3.5 assists. And then the other one that we were talking about, AD, I'd be leaning over on the points, but 27 is where I got to draw the line. Like 24.5 and up around there is a hit on the over for 80 points for show. On the other stuff, I'm kind of just on a lean on it. I thought I might have looked at something else. I like the Poeltl over points as well, but all right. Oh, I got to talk about Scottie too. You're talking about Scottie Barnes. Yeah. So let me put Scottie in the upcoming as well. No, don't delete. Yes. No, it deleted. Son of a bitch. I got fat fingers, fam. All right. Up next, we got. I didn't forget. I got Beal threes, and I got Cade PRA. Cade, I never bet. Like, Cade's one of those players I just don't get right. I don't get it right. I don't know when to bet on the motherfucker and when not to. LeBron PRA, and we're adding now Scottie B and his assists because we're finna steal these money from these books. All right, add that banner. This is what's coming up next. Bottom line is rolling. Got one strong lean. I don't think I put anything else in there yet. So, all right, let me get into Beal threes. Man, that is not a bet I want to play. Let me see. Beal threes. He is playing better this season already, and he's fully healthy, right? Like, I don't think he's on. Let me just get the latest injury. In 2 more minutes, actually, we're going to have the most updated NBA injury report. This is the official injury report. I think Twitter's probably just as good, but if you have the link to this in the description of the video, then you can make sure that every hour you get the exact NBA report. So anybody who's giving you stuff on Twitter is probably either a beat reporter or they're just reading this injury report. But if we go down all the way to Bradley Beal and Los Suns, we don't have anybody out for the Lakers that we didn't know about. Yeah, he's still questionable. So he's going to be questionable all mother-loving season, which is so annoying. But that Brad Beal is going to be one of those dudes. So I don't even know if he's playing. If he does play and we get threes for him, let's look. 1.5. Yeah, I was afraid of this. If it's minus 180 at 1.5, and then it's like, plus 120 at 2.5, the books are stealing your money. They love this number. Minus 184 they don't give a shit. They're happy to give you that at minus 184. 2.5, you want it. They're still only going to give you plus 120. This is another good thing about outlier.bet. You can get the alt lines. So let me see what the 2.5 is for Beal here. So if we want to take him to get 3 threes instead of the 2 threes, what do we got to pay? And once again, this is also why this is a very good play on a DFS site like Prize Picks or Underdog, because they're going to give you lines at the same minus 137 no matter what, right? So minus 137 for Brad Beal to add him to your parlay on Prize Picks, give or take. But that's a way better number than what you're seeing on the regular books, right? Because you're only getting minus 170 to 180 for over 1.5 threes here. So this is a great play on a book like Prize Picks or Underdog. Let's see what the over 2.5 is. Yeah, plus 155 on Caesars. But look, I mean, like, and this is also why you do not play the Goblins right now, because 2.5 is probably a demon on Prize Picks, but it's even money, and everywhere else it's way better. So if you play the demon on Prize Picks, you're getting fucked. I'm telling you that right now. You are getting fucked 99% of the time. If you play a goblin, maybe you get a little bit better line there. It's fine. But the juice ain't worth the squeeze on Prize Picks for the demons. I just want to point that out too. I hate people getting dicked on Prize Picks. Kind of hate Prize Picks, although I'm kind of banned there. So I guess I like them because they made me a lot of money. Let's see. We're talking about the Lake Show, right? And their 3-point defense. Last year, we're calling them a shooting guard, 19th in terms of limiting that stuff. Yeah, this is just not a bet I want to make because of the number that they're giving me here for the threes. So I'm kind of out on that. And Richard, I love this bet. I always love Wemby turnovers right now. I think I'm going to be playing Wemby turnovers until he proves that he's not a turnover machine. But if it's 4.5, I'm kind of out. But I might be playing consistently 3.5 for a while on the Wemby turnovers. Let me know what that number is, Richard, because that's always an intriguing one. And I like playing that for guys like Luka. Anybody who has the ball in their hands that much, I like the under. But Wemby's also he's a little bit shaky with the ball, I'll be honest. All right, I'm moving away from Brad Beal threes. I already know I'm not going to have anything for you. I apologize. But I will remind everyone to go ahead and jump in the comments while I bring this up and update this thing. If you do have a bet, we'll go over it together. If you want to know about any of the tools that I'm using, they are all in the description of the video. Also, I will just plug this real quick while we're all here. If you do want to get every bet that I'm playing when I play it, so you get the right number, there's an NBA season pass, but go in the link, the description of the video. The link is in there for the WAP.com page for all my plays, and you can get all of them through Discord. Got a little discount going right now, 40% off if you just buy the NBA season pass. Just letting you know that. Let me update this. We're going to be looking at Cade Cunningham right now. Cade and Beal back to back is like two dudes I just do not get correct whenever I try to bet on them, to be honest with you. Let me throw Brunson on there because Youngin asked about Brunson, and we could throw D Fox. I appreciate y'all having a lot of good looks here. D Fox, you said assists, and then Brunson we'll see about Jalen against this Cavs squad. But I'm always going to like Jalen Brunson. I'll tell you that right now. All right, Cade. Where you at, Cade? CC, I mean, he's looked really good. This is a dude that, like, if you believe that if he's finally going to be healthy for the season, they have a way more legit team around him than they've had since he came to Detroit, then you can try to get ahead of some stuff with him. The PRA is mad high, though, isn't it? What is it? I'm going to guess 23.5. I'm going to guess it's at who are they playing? The Heat. So I'm going to guess it's 7.5 assists and either 5 or 6.5 boards. 7.5 dimes, 4.5 boards. Okay. It could work with 4.5 boards for Cade. Oh god, those are no rebounds. So 15 rebound chances last game, 5 and 14. I think right. So he's averaging, what's this? 29 plus 5 is 34 divided by 3. So he's at like 11-ish rebound chances per game right now through 3 games. Not a ton, but a decent amount. If we look at him last season, he was right at 4.3. Let me see. This is another great, beautiful part about outlier.bet. I can just go to Cade and look at his rebound chances from last season on average for the whole season. Props Madness does show you the rebound chances. We just can't get the averages quite yet. Talk to Pips about it. He knows I'm waiting on that. So hopefully we'll get it. But if we look at this, 4.3 was the average. Once again, slightly less on the median. So he did go under a decent amount, right? Like he only went over 45% of the time. The median's a stronger indicator of where this number is as opposed to 4.32. All right. Rebound chances, 8 per game. So not that many. And then this year, he's already at the 11 per game that I just mentioned. So it's a good start. Let's pull up Courtside Pal at this point real quick. Also, is there anybody injured for Detroit? Are they going to be a healthy team this season that doesn't just have everybody on their team on the injury report? Because that'd be fun. Then we could actually bet on them. Yeah, they're healthy. And Oster's out, man. Crushing my fantasy team, Pogo Stick. Get back in the game. But let me go to Courtside Pal. If you are having trouble, I've said this a couple of times. If you're having trouble with Courtside Pal, they're moving their data over. So they need more information than they have right now. They need more games and data to actually update this for 2024. So he's working on it. But in the meantime, 2023 will work well enough for the most part. So you need to have a player already in. I'll put this link. It's in the description of the video, but I'll put it up right now as well in the comments because you need to have a link right to the player. You can't just be going to courtsidepal.com and have it work. But the beautiful part about this is that it shows us, I'm putting up Cade, it shows us player types versus team defense as opposed to just player position. And Cade's a good example of this. Yes, he's a point guard, but dude's like 6'6", right? And like he's pretty heavy dude for a point guard. He is not the same player as Tyrese Maxey, who's also considered a point guard. They're very different players. So we want to look at this on Courtside Pal to know what's his player archetype do against this squad. Let's look at boards since that was the lowest number. This is versus Miami. So last season, they were 9th best at limiting rebounds to his rebound profile. If you look at points, this is shooting and scoring. Shooting is going to be where he shoots from on the floor. Scoring is going to be how does he score? What type of play does he score off of? Does he drive to the rim? Does he score off the spot up? Whatever, right? So he's a scorer 7, probably all off the dribble. And if you look at the scoring numbers, they were the worst team limiting scoring scorers such as Cade last year. And in terms of where he's shooting from, 26. So that's a good look for Cade's points right off bat. Sorry, let me go back. I'm jumping around too much. So the rebounds don't look very good. They're very good at limiting his rebounds. The assists, this is playmaker. So his playmaker profile is number 9, whatever that means. You can look at what it means. But playing against Miami, his playmaking stuff is actually pretty good too. So I'm sorry. It's not good. Just the points are good. So they give up I did this wrong, y'all. I apologize to you guys. If they're ranked 30th, it means you do not want to be playing to have them go up against them. So shooting, no, this is right. Sorry. So for points, this is a bad matchup. 26th means they allow the 5th fewest points. I did this backwards. They allow the fewest points to his scoring profile. So they are not good for that. In fact, that does mean that he might be better for the rebounds if I was doing it backwards there. Yeah. So the rebounds are a good play. My bad for confusing you. The rebounds are a good play. Green means go. Dumbass, obviously. Green means go. You want to bet over on this dude when it's green. So they're bottom 10 limiting rebounds to Cade. They're top 5 limiting points and assists. So if you're going to play Cade here, you're going to go over on the boards, under on the points and assists. I've already just talked myself into the rebounds far and away being the best play for homie. Let's see this season. Let's see what he did last year against them rebounding wise. So not that many. He had one game that he went over. 10 rebound chances, 5, 8, 9. Said he averaged 8 last season. He's averaging 11 this season. So that might be a little bit high. So I might be getting a little bit overexcited, but the rebounds are for sure the play. I'm gonna put that down there. If I was playing Cade, I would be leaving the assists and the points off, and I'd be going over on the boards. So like I said, I'm gonna put that in the bottom line that's scrolling right now, so you can check out the leans. I'm doing Cade over 4.5 revs, but I would be going under points or assists. All right, that's all on the bottom line. Will also be on the pinned comment on the video on YouTube. Also, if you guys don't mind, give the video a like. This goes a super long way for getting anything out of it. I appreciate it. I saw some more football questions. I'm probably going to jump on those in a second. Next, we had LeBron. So that seems like a good place to interrupt myself and talk about the NFL for like 2 minutes, doesn't it? Jump in the comments. Let me know if you don't want to hear about it. I'm fine telling me not to talk about it. Najee, I like for sure. Calvin Austin, interesting. Not sure what the Calvin Austin play is there, but I'm interested to hear about it. That would be nice to know about. Let's see. Yeah, I like Warren receiving today. I see a lot of people on Jalen Warren rushing now that he's healthy, and you probably think the Giants are going to get their ass kicked, and then they're just going to bring in Jalen Warren for some late game rushing as well. And I can understand that, but I think he's going to be receiving out of the backfield. It's 13.5 yards. You get plus money for 2.5 over 2.5 receptions. I mean, if you took over 2.5 receptions for Jalen Warren last year, you're probably talking about like minus 120. So I think plus 120 is a great play for his receptions. All right. Let's keep moving with the NBA. LeBreezy against the Suns. I think I got away with one the other night. This is the game where I took his over 7.5 assists when they played on Saturday, right? And pulling him up right now. He's at 22.5 points. Oh, the assists are at 7.5 again. I took over this for minus 105 last game. 9 potentials in this one, but wow, that's a little lucky to get the assist there. And then the boards 6.5. So if we're talking about the PRA for dude, we're talking about 37.5. That's a big number for sure. What would he shoot in this game? 7 for 13. It's the shot attempts that are scaring me a little bit. Hold up. This is interesting too. Whenever you see this big of a disparity, he averaged 4 more PRA than this number is last season. And we've only had 3 games. So I like to find these moments where I feel like we're having an overreaction to what's happened so far and just going with it. So the under 37.5 PRA might be a little bit of an overreaction than anything. Let's go to the regular. This is regular season. Yeah. So regular season was 41.1. Still a good number. And what's he been playing minutes wise? We got 35, 35, 34. So 35 minutes a game. They did win the sack game by 4. He played a lot. 22 shots in that game, 13 and 16. The points are at 22.5. What did he do against Phoenix last season? This is pretty much the same team. 28, 20, 28, 10, and 21. He only golly. Looking at the points, he took 11 shots in this game. They lost by 18. He probably didn't play very much at the end. So they're getting blown out. 1 by 5 and lost by 10. So as long as these games are close, he's playing 35 minutes. The points are there. This is only 14 field goal attempts. I don't know what to do with LeBron right now. I feel like I got away with one with the 7.5 assists. He had 5 assists going into the fourth quarter last game. He's a fade before he's going to be a hit, an over for me as well. I see what you're saying with LeBron unders. I would not be going over. Obviously, the assists have hit all 3 times this year. This is last season against them. All 3 times against them last year. They've hit 2 out of 3. But I like that he had 16 assists here. This is partly why I took him in this game, was he had 16 potential assists versus the Timberwolves. They're hard to score against. And then he had only 9 against this team, the next against the Suns, but he still had 8. I got to pass on LeBron and keep him moving so we can get a few more looks in here. There's not anything that's given me much of a edge is what I'm trying to say. All right, taking LeBron out. I know we got Scottie. I just wanted to look at one more thing before I get to Scottie. I'm going to cut the line myself and talk about Jokic rebounds because I was talking about that in conjunction with Poeltl a minute ago when Mike was talking about Poeltl on the points. And I kind of like Joker on the boards. There's a couple things I'm looking at here. Let me get back to that game. Where you at, Denver? Denver is in Toronto. So Denver and Jokic, looking at the boards, 11.5. Let me see something real quick. 24 rebound chances here, 18 here. I mean, I still like Homie to get 12 boards on 18 rebound chances, to be honest with you. He had to deal with Zoo in this last game. Zoo's a monster, and Poeltl is not the rebounder that Zubac is. Toronto gives up a ton of rebounds. I think we all know that. They did last year. They're going to this year. Let's see. This year, this is centers, rebounds. I can't believe Zoo's given up. Oh, that's points. Yeah. So rebounds. Who are we talking about? Jesus Christ. We're talking about the Toronto Raptors. Where are you at, Toronto? Oh, so they're not that bad. They're actually pretty good at limiting rebounds as well to centers this year. But I just think this number is low for a dude who last year averaged 12. So we're asking him to get 12 against a bad team that is not a good rebounding team and not a good shooting team. There's plenty of bricks probably on the way for a team that's playing Davion Mitchell and Grady Dick in the starting lineup. Like, if you have Grady Dick in your starting lineup, you don't have Dick. All right. So the boards, the rebound chances I like. What was one more thing I was going to look at here? I don't remember. I think last season he did pretty well against Poeltl. Yeah, I mean, he dominated this team last year. And it's just a game where it's like, you got to win, man. You cannot start the season like this. What does this make them? Are they 1-1 right now? They played 2 games. Yeah, they're 0-2, excuse me. So they just lost 2 games in a row. You can't go 0-3 to start a season. The points are mad high. 26.5 is decent, actually. Got that a lot last year against them. Yeah, he crushed them last year. 14 of 26, not missing anybody either. Yeah, I think even PR is a good play for Jokic. But I think I take the boards. Kind of just want the PR now. I'm going to put is this 38.5 everywhere? -115 on FanDuel. I like to see what Pinnacle has because that's a much smarter book, but they don't have a lookup right now. I think you either take the PR or the P or the R, honestly, like however you want to play Joker. I think he's in for a big game. I'm going to put him up on the leans and just take a look at one more thing before I get off to see how I like this. But I'm going to say Joker, Jokic over 38.5 PR. But if you can't play that and because you don't have like combo props, then you can just play either of those individually. And I'm good with both of those plays, to be honest with you. So add that to it as well. I was looking at, I didn't look at any Pacers players yet, but I did look at some. I like Hallie points real quick since you ask about it. Because, and I just saw it, so just lucky that I'm looking at it, but is he still at 16.5? Yeah, he's still at 16.5. I feel like the under actually probably got bet, but I know they're on the back-to-back. Only makes me like it more. So here's what I like. So he has not had a good start to the season by anybody's stretch of the imagination, but 18 shots in both these games is nice, right? 6 for 18 here and 8 for 18 there. And that's outliers for Tyrese. Like, he's a better shooter than that. Still took 9 threes. In this last game, he took 9. The middle game, he went 0 for 8 from the field. And then just didn't play anymore because the Knicks smacked him, and then took 9 here. So he's looking at like 9 threes a game, 18 shots a game when it hasn't been a 25 point blowout like the one that they had to the Knicks. I think he's going to continue to shoot that much. This is another game that he needs to help his team get right. And if you look at him last year versus the Magic, who I know have a good D and are ready to pounce today because they just had an ugly-ass loss to the Memphis Grizzlies on the road, but he scores because they give up points to the pick and roll ball handler, right? Like, as good as the Magic's defense is, we've talked about this, the head of the offense can get theirs. And that's what we saw with Tyrese, especially because he's making a lot of threes. Last year, above the break, they were good against the above the break threes, but Tyrese still got his. So what was he shooting from 3 versus them last year? 3 for 5, 1 for 6, and he's still getting his points. You see what I'm saying? At 16.5, like, this is a super beatable number for him. I think we're overreacting a bit. And I like the fact that he looked good in this last game against the 76ers and really came back and did his thing. So I'm going to take him. I'm not going anywhere near the assists. This is the craziest thing I've seen for him. 12 potential assists, 10 potential assists, and then only 2 in this last game against the 76ers. Either way, he's averaging 3.7 on the season. That's wild for Tyrese Haliburton. But I'm glad you brought that up because I do like that as well. I'm going to put that in the leans for Haliburton over 16.5 points. Haliburton over 16.5 points. Putting that on the bottom line. Also going to pin the comment with the leans that I had in the plays I'm looking at. So that'll be on YouTube. All right, done interrupting myself. Tatum shit is so high, fam. Like Tatum is, it's gotten, 28.5 points. I think he's 8.5 boards. Like, yes, my man is on one right now, and he might be making a legit case for MVP this year, finally, as opposed to the fake cases that he's been making. But Tatum is just, his shit got so high, man, that I don't know about that. Did I put Haliburton on the bottom line? I did. All right, good. I am going to update this so I can talk about, I do like the Joker boards. I got those on there as a lean as well. Let me see about Scottie, because that was a question. Scottie disappointed me in the first 3 games. I really thought he was going to go off the other day because he's playing without IQ. IQ is doubtful once again. I think RJ Barrett is still questionable. He could play. I'm not positive about that one. We only got an hour 15 till game time, but we don't get the information we need until motherfucking 10 minutes before game time. This Rudy Poo ass league sometimes. So 2 games so far this season, 27 and 20. Not very good shooting, although, yeah, here he was 8 for 11 against the Sixers, 9 for 19 in the loss to Minnesota. Only an 11-point loss, too. But the Dimes, only 6. So it's at 5.5 on the Dimes now. But you're all saying Scottie Dimes under is a steal. I think that was what the call was, right? It was like Scottie Barnes is fadeable tonight, was what somebody was trying to say. RJ is playing. Okay. We got that. Got to make sure that's 100% true. But if you saw that come down, then that's great. Let's see real quick. Just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. So, yeah, this is another dude. I'm not going to lie. You brought up Scottie Barnes, another dude I do not like to bet on. I just think it's so sporadic with him. Like, if you look at last season, it was so up and down. That's a pretty fluctuating graph in terms of how high this is versus how low some of these other ones are. Like, he's capable of getting 10 points, capable of getting 29 points 2 games later, right? I just don't like having to try to figure out when it's going to be, because he's also just sort of a Swiss Army knife and does lots of different stuff. I definitely don't like playing his points. I don't like playing shooters' points. I don't like having to rely on dudes who can't shoot from deep to get theirs, and you can just sag off of them. So that's kind of annoying. 5.5 assists. That's pretty low, though, if IQ and RJ Barrett aren't playing. I'm just going to show one thing real quick. Scottie Barnes with and without... Come on, with and without quickly last 50 games. I forget how many they even played together last year. The last 50 games with him 26, without him 24. And you see the points go up by 3, the rebounds go up by 1, the assists go down without IQ. Probably in part because there's not as good as shooters on the floor for him to find, and he's actually assisting IQ on a decent amount of these. So without him, the points and the boards are a little better played. The assists, according to the averages, the assists are the look in terms of the fade, if you're going to fade him. So I think that was the call, was like assists under is a steal was the comment. And like, I would agree with that for sure. If you can get under 6.5 assists, okay, so those are probably hanging around as well. I see some of y'all saying you took under 6.5. So you guys are the reason this is bumped down. So minus 135 on DK for under 6.5. And we're talking about him against the Nuggets. Yeah, the Nuggets limit assists for sure. I think they were like 6th best last year, limiting assists. Let me pull that up real quick. And this is versus point guards. Let's just do in general assists last season, 2023. So I just go to all. It doesn't even matter by position, just league rankings. The Nuggets were, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th best at limiting assists overall last year. Let's call him a point guard if IQ's not out there. And now we're talking about the Nuggets still in the top 8, 9 in terms of limiting point guard assists. So I think the assist is an underplay for Scottie. 6.5 is a pretty good number to get there. So I feel that for sure. Let's see. Let me try to get through the rest of this list and see if we can add 1 or 2. We're going to get rid of Scottie. D Fox assist. That's my guy, too. Love that he came with it after a weird start to the season. Let me try to get to these 2 point guards real quick and then see if we got anything for him. All right, pulling up numero uno. We got D Fox going up late night against the Portland Trailblazers on a back-to-back with a nice win, smacking the Pelicans, the lowly fucking Pelicans. What the fuck is going on in New Orleans? Let's see. D Fox, 23.5. This went up, right? I guess no, he had about 23.5. This is a really helpful tool too for y'all that I'll just bring up real quick. I talked about it last season. Betting Pros, you can look at the most recent lines. So you can see how the books have moved their lines from game to game for a specific player. So the link to this is also in the description of the video if you want it. But if I pull up Fox, for instance, and pull up D Fox, it's going to show me once it loads in the year 2024, for fuck's sake. So I can look at the line for each game. So the game log with the prop line. So you can see in game one for D Fox, is that the first game? Yeah, that's right. They played the Timberwolves who were on a back-to-back. First game of the season, 22.5 point line. He gets 15, but it goes up because they're playing the Lakers, and he always does well against the Lakers. How did he do last year against the Blazers here? Looking at last year head-to-head. Went off against them. Was missing Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter for those games. Wasn't missing anybody for this one. They lost by 17 in the first matchup on the 26th after Christmas. And then only 26 minutes because they won by 40, and he still got 24 points in that game against this squad. DDR, DeMar DeRozan being in, I still don't really know how it's going to affect things, to be honest with you. DeMar, real quick, is doing well as well, 9 for 12. Who's suffering here on the points? I thought it was going to be Keegan Murray. Then he had 23. It's going to be different night to night. I mean, between Fox, DeMar, and then Murray and Sabonis, it's going to go back and forth. This is the dude who's going to keep suffering in a lot of the way he plays. So he was, how did he get? Oh, yeah. Okay. So he had 14 points because he was 4 for 7 from deep. But if he misses 2 of those, he's at 8 points. 2 for 7 from deep is probably more likely than 4 for 7 for Kevin Huerter this year. 20 minutes and 26 minutes. And that's because Keon Ellis was out in this game. So that was a big reason, I'm sure, why he got a few more minutes in that game without Keon Ellis. I like a fade of Huerter is kind of what I'm getting at here. But you told me to look at Fox assists, and I just went off of my own bullshit. So 10 and 11, 14 and 17 potential assists. So do we like him to get 6 assists on that many potential assists? I think we do. I love that he had 17 against the Lake Show. He probably dominating the ball. I want to look at something real quick. I know this might be nerding out way hard, but I want to see who's like literally touching the ball the most for this Kings squad. So I'm going to go to the NBA Advanced Stats page, go to players. I'm going to pull up, this is 24-25. I'm going to go to tracking data, and I can just go to touches. Now to make this the, I'm going to bring a filter up to make this just the Kings. So I'm going to say team equals sack. And now this is going to show me who's got the most touches and how these sort of touches are dispersed between the players so that I know who's really dominating the ball and whatnot. So you can see, like, we're all worried about DeMar coming in and taking stuff away from Fox, but De'Aaron Fox has 80 touches per game this season. 28.5 of those in the front court, meaning, closer to the basket. And then most like dominating time of possession, dominating average times per touch and dribbles and all that, right? Points per touch, not as good because he's touching it so much more. Let's see. And then as far as, let's look at tracking data and look at passing. So I'm going to just once again make this just the Kings to kind of confirm that he's the point guard who is dominating the sort of playmaking is what I'm trying to say for him, right? Like passes made, for instance. So D Fox has the most passes made. He has the most passes received. I've talked about this a lot. When you have a player who has the most passes made and received, it's common, but it's the point guard and it's the dude whomever is orchestrating the offense, right? The person who has got the ball up top makes a pass, and if the offense doesn't find anything after one pass from the PG, comes right back to him. So I like that he's getting all these passes to him and is making that many. You can see DeMar is also a big focal point of the offense. But this is kind of confirming that Fox hasn't really seen his usage or his involvement in the offense go down. He's the point guard. DeMar's playing off ball. It's not as much on ball stuff for DeMar this year. So I like it. In very long summary, I like De'Aaron Fox over 5.5 assists at this rate. One more thing I just want to see, because once again, it's the beginning of the season. He's got 10.5 assists per game. And he's got 14 and 17 is 31. So he's at 15.5 potential assists per game. Very good. if he gets 14 or 13 potential assists, I like him to get 6 assists. So he's got a really nice number. One thing I want to see is what did he do last year in this same realm? How many potential assists did he have per game? Is this an anomaly? Because it's the beginning of the season. It's only 2 games. Is this a weird anomaly that he has 15 and a half potential assists per game? Let me pull up the dimes for him and go to 2023 and see. So he averaged 5 and a half last season and was at about 11 potential assists. So once again, this is where I heed a little bit of caution in that just because he has so many potentials and looks like he's facilitating so much this year doesn't mean that's the norm for his career. This team does give up a lot of assists. They're bad on defense. They're bad in general, are the Blazers, although they're definitely better than last year. So with that in mind, not that much of an edge in terms of the matchup. I think this is mostly a numbers game, and if you believe he's going to continue to facilitate at this rate, I think it's a good play. I really want to bet it. So I'm going to put De'Aaron Fox assists on the bottom line as well and say Fox over 5.5 assists is a look. Putting that up as well. All right, let's finish it off with Brunson. Yeah, the PRA I actually don't have a problem with either, Steve, if you're interested in the combo prop for him. The thing about the boards, points 26 against, this is last season, yeah, obviously. The boards, let's see real quick. Versus PGs, nothing there really. I don't really care if like team is good at limiting point guard rebounds necessarily. I don't really see a reason to add the points or the rebounds. I'll be honest with you. That's kind of where I'm at with that. I think on the second night of a back-to-back, this has high blowout potential as well. So we got to keep that in mind. But yeah, it even makes me a little scared of the 5.5 assists now that I mentioned the word blowout potential. So I don't know for sure if I like adding anything but the assist for D Fox. That's kind of where I'm at with it. All right, let's look at Jay Brunson, the point guard, the savior of New York. Already the best Nick point guard that we've ever had. I dare somebody to defy me on that. I mean, Walt Frazier was great, man, but like, don't tell me that you watch Walt Frazier tape and are taking him over Jalen Brunson. I don't believe you. All right, finishing it off with JB though. I'm literally just Jalen Brunson against the Cavs. 27 and a half points. Golly. I mean, he's only played in blowout games, so it's not fair. Let's see. Last season against this squad, 2 games, not too great of showings. 23 shot attempts, only 8 makes, 24 points. Lost by 6. Much different team. This is earlier in the year. Much different team than what he had later in the year, obviously. But I mean, this is tough. I mean, I don't think I'm betting an over on his points. I think he's still an under on the points, to be honest. The assists were low last year against them too. He averaged 6.8, but only 3 against this team. Or I guess over here he didn't even have any. He only played 1 minute over here. This must have got, he got hurt against Cleveland at the end of the year. That's crazy. I don't even remember that. But really, it doesn't matter because it's these ones over here. I think he's a fade on the PA, to be honest. I think the points and the assists are a pretty solid fade for him tonight. Like, it's probably going to be a pretty choppy is the word I'm looking for. I want to say chalky. Choppy game. I think there's going to be a good amount of misses. Looks like the Josh Hart rebounds went up. That's annoying. This was at 9.5 earlier. Hopefully y'all got it at 9.5 when I put the video out. Anyway, I am staying away from anything over Brunson. If you're going to bet Brunson, this is an under, and I'm not going to watch a Knicks game while I'm rooting for Jalen Brunson not to get stats. I'm not going to do it. I'm a Knicks fan, if anybody didn't know that. So I'm good on that. I was waiting for somebody to make a freaking touches joke. I said the word touches like 100 times, and this is the only perverted joke that we get is from Trey. Good job, Trey. I appreciate it, bro. Somebody's got to do the hard work around here. All right. I think I got to roll. I know I have to roll because I want to get a couple more plays in. But I think I'm going to go be looking at these leans here that I put up on the pin comment on YouTube. They're also on the bottom line right now. I'm going to put those, get into those a little bit more and try to make some plays before these games start to see what I officially like. If you do want to get those plays, link is in the description of the video for the VIP Discord. You got to go through WAP to get there. But you can get a season pass for the NBA that gets you 40% off for the yearly price. So it's a pretty good deal there if you want to get that not going to be there forever, but if you do want it now, that's the way to go. I'll be having another video for tomorrow's games, hopefully tonight if I can get it up. Otherwise, early as hell tomorrow morning, and then going to continue on with Thursday Night Football, all the rest of it. So appreciate the time. Everybody going to be doing this the rest of the week as well. So hopefully I'll see y'all tomorrow. Until I do, happy betting.